to my amazement, we are just about done. And let me thank you again for all the comments that you've all made just now. Thanks to everyone for their questions who have been watching the workshop. And now I'm going to turn this back to Director Kevin Griffis from the CDC to give us some final words.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Howard. Just briefly, I want to thank everybody for attending this workshop. I mean, speaking for those on the front lines of communicating about public health, I know it can be difficult to take a step back and appreciate the work happening around us and set aside the time necessary to calibrate strategies when the next issue is always knocking on our door for our attention. And so I'm appreciative of all the experts who took time to discuss the work and research happening in the infodemic space. And I hope it was helpful to practitioners as we continue to iterate strategies. Can we go to the slides? Great. Go to the second slide. One more. Okay, thank you. So just briefly, I do want to just reflect on some of the takeaways and talk a little bit about CDC's work. Obviously yesterday we focused on the efforts to capture, process, and respond to information and mis and disinformation. And today we learned from the Johns Hopkins report about the types of tools and resources that are available at different levels of the public health information ecosystem, the sort of constellation of imperfect interventions that we have available to us. We also discussed state and local level involvement, community engagement, and strategies for action. It's clear we need to continue to increase our understanding of how to resource our institutions at every level in the federal government to reduce the harmful effects of mis and disinformation. I want to briefly just recap what CDC is doing right now. Addressing information, misinformation, disinformation is today a standard part of CDC's communications planning process, and we are meeting regularly with other federal agencies to coordinate on emerging misinformation and actions. But we can and are doing more. That includes building better monitoring and alert systems and a more systematic approach throughout the agency, working with academic institutions to build a system that increases our Sentinel data collection and social listening, soon to be in 16 states, building rapid response infrastructure to get people the right information from trusted community sources, and finally developing tools for public health to predict the virality of vaccine misinformation. CDC's work, the work of our partners and our academic colleagues is ongoing, and we'll continue to work to make it more cohesive and defined as we move forward together. Our mission, as all of our mission is, to get the accurate information out at the right time through the most appropriate channels so that people can be empowered to make the right healthcare decisions for themselves. This is truly at the heart of everything that CDC and I know the folks on this call do on a daily basis. Thank you again for everyone's planning and participation in this workshop. Thank you.
Kevin, thank you so much. So allow me to just make a couple more minutes of closing remarks and we can end early. And first and foremost, I just want to thank everybody for the last 2 days. What an incredible workshop. We just heard from so many committed and inspired people. And I thought the roundtable in particular thanked so wholeheartedly everybody who served through this pandemic. I mean, people have sacrificed in so many different ways. And so what we're doing is paying tribute to all of you who have contributed to getting us to this point. Just reflecting on some points from today, lots of emphasis on engaging the communities early when there's no emergency, and then staying close to them, understand what information people are getting and where they're getting it from, and then understanding what people are perceiving about health authorities and credible sources of information. We have to recognize the role of the history of these communities, especially when there's been discrimination and other reasons to generate mistrust in the past. Our country is getting more diverse, so those themes are more and more critical every day. We got to invest in infrastructure, not just in governmental public health. And I think Mike said this very nicely. This has got to be an all of society approach, not just government, not just state and local public health. And we have to also build capacity among the workforce and make the communications theme a top priority going forward. It can't be an add-on. The communications experts have to be at the table and teach all of us so that we're all doing it together going forward. This morning, I really want to thank the plenary speakers, Dr. Quinn, who talked about the report last year on what builds trust, focusing on the four themes of transparency, capability, reliability, and particularly humanity. I was just very pleased how many people talked about the humanity, empathy, and compassion themes. That's got to come through in whatever outreach we do in public health. And then I also want to thank our colleagues from Johns Hopkins who gave a very nice update on their commission report about the multiple levels by which we can view this challenge: the information level, the interpersonal or community level, the institutional or structural level, and doing that all together, as Tara mentioned at the end, is really very important for all of us going forward. It was great to hear some really cutting edge tools from Canada about AI. I did not know about that, so that was fascinating to hear. And I think our colleagues from Oklahoma sort of set the stage for surveying what the public is perceiving so that we can change our messages in real time if we have to. And then stressing the points of teaching the public that through a multi-year pandemic with science evolving, we have to be prepared to deliver messages that do change. I often reflect that when a weatherman or a woman gets on TV and says one day it's going to be sunny and the next day it's going to be rainy and the next day there's going to be a tornado, then we have to adjust our response. Otherwise, everybody understands that. That was not the understanding through COVID, and maybe that's one of the many ways we can improve our communications going forward. So the question now is what do we do next? Just to remind you, this summer of 2023, the National Academies will be making a publicly available workshop, Proceedings in Brief, which hopefully can lay the foundation for future endeavors. And as I mentioned yesterday, this Proceedings in Brief will describe only the presentations and discussions from the workshop, but it will contain no conclusions or consensus or recommendations by any group because we just barely scratched the surface. We've had some comments and suggestions from viewers that they'd like to have this very valuable conversation keep going forward. I was very grateful to our colleagues who have chaired other relevant workshops and presented today. If you want to keep the conversation going forward and better understand how all these reports are being coordinated, please contact the National Academies team. And while I mention them, I just cannot say enough about Lisa Brown, Matt Masiello, Sarah Lunsford, and Maggie McCarthy. Everybody has commented what an incredible array of presenters we had. That's because Lisa, Matt, Sarah, and Maggie kept asking us and asking us and asking us for contacts and good speakers and provocative thinkers. And that's why we had the agenda and the speakers and the panelists and the moderators that we have had. I want to thank Spark Street Digital for their excellent behind the scenes work. Thanks to the workshop planning committee. You've met many of them here and yesterday. And we want to thank the sponsor of the CDC Office of Readiness and Response, and in particular, Robin Solar, Lynn Sokler, and her team. So as I close, I had the honor yesterday of opening up the workshop saying we needed to learn from COVID-19 to grow, adapt, and be better prepared for the next threat. And that if we do, we can make our own contributions to rebuilding, revitalizing, and renewing public health for the future. So today I am closing by saying, I believe we have through this workshop definitely taken a step forward to do exactly that. Building systems and trust is not easy. It takes a lot of energy and commitment and work, but it's what makes our work filled with meaning and purpose in a way, in my view, that no other field has. I mean, this is a calling for many of us. And I can assure you that together we have made a contribution to strengthen the mission of public health going forward. So thank you so much for spending your last 2 days with us and being part of this chapter of public health history. And on behalf of the National Academies and everyone here, I want to thank you once again for your time and attention. And we all look forward to working with you again in the future. So the meeting is adjourned, and thank you once again. All the best.